This episode is brought to you by Nature's Bounty. Nature's Bounty believes your body is brilliant, naturally designed to thrive, inside and out. For those always looking for new ways to support your health from head to heels, Nature's Bounty has a range of over 400 vitamins and supplements born from 50 years of trust and care. Nature's Bounty. It's in your nature. Visit naturesbounty.com to learn more.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso. Gift magical mornings with Nespresso Virtuo Pop. Compact and stylish, Virtuo Pop is made to meet every morning coffee craving. From espresso to coffee, hot or iced, at the click of a button. And celebrate the season with Nespresso's limited edition coffee flavors. Sweet almond and hibiscus, cinnamon and candied tamarind, and festive double espresso. Magic in the making. Shop the holiday gift collection exclusively at Nespresso.com.
Good morning. This is Mike Stoller for the Stoller Real Estate Report. Things are looking up in the office market. Very positive moves are being seen. Owners are adjusting and gaining new tenants. So what's really happening in the New York and the national office market? I have Andrew Wiener, who's the head of Commercial Real Estate Leasing at the Feil Organization. Andrew, thanks for being here.
Thanks for being here, Michael.
Okay, so tell me what the Feil Organization is and what are you doing these days?
So Feil has 25 million square feet spread across commercial buildings, retail stores, which are indoor malls, Chicago and New Orleans, and then strip centers in Long Island. And Tampa also has 5,000 residential units and also some industrial products.
So let's talk about your area of expertise, which is the office market. And let's talk a little bit about New York specific and then Long Island.
Great.
So what's happening?
The momentum is picking up, which is great. The activity has been robust. We're going to have New York City specifically will have the highest leasing volume it's had since pre-COVID, which is certainly phenomenal. Certainly the market's been bifurcated for the last few years versus, A and A-plus property versus B, which is typically what Feil owns and has historically owned. And the B market has picked up over the last 2 years, and you're seeing increased momentum, velocity. Concessions are still very high. It's still expensive to build space, but tenants are making long-term decisions, which is great because term is key to financing for the office buildings. So we've seen increased activity across the board. Last year, we leased 1 million square feet, which was a record in New York City for Feil, and this year we're on pace to beat that.
Oh, that's great. And what about your leasing in Long Island?
Leasing in Long Island has been phenomenal, specifically because we own a few well-located buildings. And what didn't...
Would you call them B or B plus buildings?
I would call them... Most of the buildings in Long Island are B plus. There's probably only a few that we would call A properties. Each one of these buildings, we reinvested capital into with new lobbies, elevators, etc. Curb appeal is a very big thing on Long Island. The most important thing I would say for office tenants is the ability for landlords to close transactions and fund TI. So while that was a big issue in New York City post-COVID, those capital stacks really got cleared up pretty quickly and are almost all cleared up. On Long Island, it's different because there's just not so much demand on the institutional side and the owner side. We're able to fund deals. So we've done a few 100,000 feet in the last year and a half on Long Island. 1305 Walt Whitman is a building that's now almost 100% leased. 395 North Service Road, we're almost 100% leased. We've got activity on our remaining big block. And then 100 Quentin, which is in Garden City, we've seen massive increased activity given the new lobby, the new elevators, the capital program.
What type of tenant improvements are you giving?
So it's a little bit cheaper to build on Long Island, but anywhere from 70 to 110 to build out tenant spaces. You're typically capping at $70 a foot, which is high for Long Island, but we're then getting a mid-30s rent, which is also high for Long Island.
What was it before?
High 20s in base rent and probably $50 a foot for a build-out.
Now, we were talking the other day, I think it was with regard to Long Island and also in New York City. Lawyers are taking more space. Tell me about that.
Yeah, the activity that we have on Long Island are with accountants and law firms expanding. So they want to have some presence or a larger presence on Long Island for lawyers who are going to come into the city would also want to have exposure to having a shorter commute. And then in the city, you're seeing larger law firms continue to expand as some of the smaller firms that didn't expand post-COVID are getting eaten up by the bigger firms.
Okay, that's the law firms. What about the accounting firms?
Yeah, we did a 20,000 square foot lease at 395 with Anderson Tax. We're talking to 2 other large accounting firms right now on the island. And we're effectively one of only a handful of options, again, because we could fund. So one of the larger accounting groups we're talking to is about 45,000 feet, which is an extraordinarily large tenant for Long Island.
Oh, no question about it. So what's happening? You own a lot of properties on Park Avenue South. Let's talk about Park Avenue South, and then we'll discuss other areas.
Yeah, so 251, 250, and 257, which are the corners on 20th to 21st and Park South. 2 of those buildings are 100% leased now. At 250 Park South, we leased 50,000 feet this year. The Criterion Collection leased floors 2, 3, and 4, which was a long-term lease that brought us to 100%. And we're negotiating on floors that are not available yet, but we know will be available in the next, call it 12 months. 251 was a redevelopment done prior to COVID where Herman Miller leases majority of the building, 75%. 257, we leased 3 floors, 40,000 feet to Phipps houses on a 30-year lease structure.
Would you explain to my audience the 30-year structure?
Yeah. So effectively, there's a loophole in the real estate tax code where if a nonprofit signs a 30-year leasehold condo, it effectively separates those floors from the real estate tax base of the building. The tenant doesn't pay taxes, the landlord doesn't pay real estate taxes, and the tenant gets the beneficial of a lower rent, and the landlord gets the benefit of not having to pay the taxes. So it's a real win-win where nonprofits who can't afford to pay market rent get to be in locations that they otherwise wouldn't be able to afford, and the landlord can then get the benefit of not having to pay real estate taxes for those floors and provide a cheaper rent. But on a net effective rent, it's effectively getting the same all-in rent that they otherwise would get to market, but you're getting 30-year cash flow.
Okay, what about the property on Madison Avenue, 51st?
So at 4080, we did the same structure with the Archdiocese in 2024. That building is now 95% leased, and we've increased asking rents there by about 15%. And we've got some deals pending that'll bring us to 97, 98%.
What about the General Electric building for the older people?
Yeah, so that building has benefited dramatically the last 12 months as the Class A and A plus market heats up. So if you're looking for 20 to 100,000 feet on Park, Madison, 5th, 6th, it just doesn't exist. And post-COVID, all the tenants who were in these B buildings could upgrade to A product at the price they were previously paying. Now, as that market tightens, we're well located. We're on top of the 6 train, and you're right next to 345 Park Avenue, right? You're right next to Blackstone. So we've leased over 100,000 feet there the last 12 months, and we have another 40,000 feet of deals pending. And we also just increased pricing there as well by about $10 a foot.
What are rents there?
Anywhere from 60s to 80s. On the top 2 floors, we're going to ask 95, which is a unique piece of space that's a duplex upstairs, but typically anywhere from 60s to 80s.
Okay, what about 7 Penn?
7 Penn, we're drafting off of all the success Vornado has with the redevelopment there with 1 and 2 Penn. And we put together a block of space at the tower, which we have a dramatic amount of activity on, that will be kicked off with a lease with a brand new roof deck amenity that we're going to be bringing to market, which will be available to the whole building. And that'll allow us to lease faster to larger tenants for longer terms, which is a massive investment into the building by the Feil family. So we're really proud of that project.
What about the other markets that you take care of? Chicago, you mentioned.
Yeah, so we oversee Chicago and Tampa as well. Tampa has done extraordinarily well as the South continues to grow. So specifically, we have a building down in Tampa. It's generally over 1.5 million feet, but this building is the Wells Fargo Tower. and we've leased a dramatic amount of law firms who are growing and opening up new offices because they want to have a foothold. So that building, when we first purchased it in early 2022, was about 80% leased. We're now 94% leased and have activity to lease up the rest of the space. Rents there when we first purchased it were low to mid 30s. Rents are now in the low 40s.
What about amenities that you're providing in these buildings all over?
So historically, we do not have amenities in the building because New York City specifically, and then I'll get to the other markets, where we haven't had the ability to push some of the B buildings from 60s to 80s to triple digits that would then accommodate the cost to put in an amenity. Certainly post-COVID, we looked at it. We were able to lease without it. 7 Penn, again, we're going to have that roof deck amenity, so that'll kick off. 261 Fifth, where we've got 50,000 feet of leases out presently. We have a roof deck amenity that was there from when the building was purchased. It was previously leased exclusively to a tenant. We're going to take that back and make it available to the rest of the building. I think for certain assets, you have to have it. Long Island, we have conference centers and cafeterias. Tampa, we have the same. For the urban markets, you may not need it, but it all depends on your structure. If you're looking to cap out or refinance top dollar, you're going to need to have it to get the highest rent. For long-term owners, you might not need to.
Last question. What about the retail in these office buildings in New York City?
So the retail's done very well the last 2 years or so. I think the market's gotten much tighter. We had an issue with the retail at 570 Lex, which we're bringing to market now. We're talking to a few food operators because of some of the hotels on Lex from 51st to 47th Street going out from COVID. They're just, besides the lack of office occupants feeding the retail, there weren't, people in hotels, etc. So they got really hurt. But now everybody's back. You're walking on the street. It's very busy. The retail's doing well, but you have to find food because you need the retail to act as an amenity to your office tenants above. And the best way to do that is to have a good food operator.
I'm happy that with regard to a person, I'm happy the Feil Organization has a good operator in Andrew Wiener. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here. Wishing you a very happy half-off holiday because right now Mint Mobile is offering you the gift of 50% off unlimited. To be clear, that's half price, not half the service. And Mint is still premium unlimited wireless for a great price. So that means a half day. Yeah? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.